Hi, Dr. David Lunt here. Modern pandemics are man-made by overpopulation of humans who are destroying the natural balances of life forms on our very precious planet. We have to do something about that now, and we have to do that by changing man's bad behaviors, which have caused these pandemics and all the catastrophes which we are seeing in more and more frequently throughout our world and taking the lives and causing destruction of economies throughout our world. A pandemic is harm to the health of our world population and a biocrime that our wonderful world has to respond to collectively. Pandemics can no longer be regarded as natural disease because they are now known to be man-made, so man must jointly accept responsibility for our actions. There are multiple causes, amongst which are human population explosions, deforestation, industrial and consumerism, to name but a few. We have to identify and manage all of them by proportionate fines for those known and shown to be responsible. It will be our evolution by intention, which is shown in the following short video. This is a snapshot taken of a video which I had made of a hoopoe chick who I had seen while I was on holiday being fed a earthworm by its parent, and the fledgling had just left the nest, which you see here under the tile in front of it. It now is faced with the problem of getting back now that it's been fed, and it wants to just go back and get to sleep. But he has a problem because on the ground, they are normal ground-dwelling birds. All it would need to do is to fall back into the hole and flap its wings so that it didn't hurt itself. But here, he's got to fly back into the hole, and he has quite a bit of difficulty in doing that. But he overcomes that difficulty and eventually gets in for another well-deserved rest at home, and he'll fledge properly the next day. His parents have made the correct decision of changing from ground dwelling to birds which live in suburbia. And here he gets a supply of food. The sprinklers are sprinkling the water on the ground, and there are plenty of earthworms for them to find, and cats have great difficulty getting onto the roof and underneath the tiles where this bird has now got its home. So this is executive function. They have planned what they were doing for the safety of their home, and they'd made the correct decision, and now they had changed from ground dwelling to eaves, suburbia dwelling birds. A far safer home and far better food supply. This is a hoopoe fledgling whose parents have chosen a safer home. They usually nest in abandoned holes in the ground in wild Africa, but an urban home is safer and food supply more plentiful. This is evolution adaptation of this fledgling takes place in a few minutes while he learns how to get back into the nest and demonstrates his family's use of their evolved executive function. Executive function is a very basic evolved ability of many small social animals, even birds, bees, and very small ants, with far smaller brains than humans. There are many features, but central are the ability to firstly make correct decisions, then plan for their future, and thirdly change their own and communal behaviours. This fledgling and family have made the correct decision to make their home safer by changing their behaviours and planning for their future. This is evolution by intention, which we all have to do. We are all responsible for preventing pandemics now, not only for our own families. where we will start to prove that we can plan for the future, make the correct decisions, and change our behaviours. More than 30 years of warnings and no or inadequate plans for the future is probably a very serious crime, but nevertheless our collective responsibility. Correct decisions and collective behavioural planning for the future is now urgently required. The way forward. We can identify all causes and impose a proportional financial tax penalty to resolve all global harm, such as all land deforested this century, and enforce the nature conservation required to restore our world to its last century temperature balance. Rewards must be offered for solving climate change problems, such as management of World Heritage resources in poor nations. There are many references, but perhaps the most important was the Universal Declaration of Human Rights adopted and proclaimed by the United Nations General Assembly, Resolution 217A 111 on the 19th of December 1948. A very long time ago, but it is still very important, and we tend to be losing sight of the fact that everybody and every animal has a right to exist, and to exist without fear of extinction.